will communicate, and you all begin to communicate and send flowers and call and keep preparing. Sex will explode at night. And orgasm will explode at night. So what usually happens is that, because I've seen people in my office that, ladies, but I've got a PhD in psych. I'll have ladies come to my office and they will be talking about, Doc, I think that my wife is raping me. My husband is raping me. And I'm like, how does a husband rape a wife? And I was struggling with it until they started talking about, he doesn't call me, we don't talk, he doesn't send flowers, he doesn't help me while I'm cooking, he doesn't do anything. I mean, he's taking care of his business, I'm minding my business, and we get home. We get to bed at night, turn on the light, and he says, honey, let's do it. And I go, who are you? I know you. So it took me time to actually understand what women are saying. That it's not just when you get to the bedroom, that's not when sex begins. Sex begins in the morning. How are you? I was just watching you talking to them about touching each other for a bit of time. Sex begins with getting up in the morning, good morning, kids, how are you doing, honey? Calling them while they're at work, and just preparing them through communication. And then when you get home, you don't have to fight. She'll be there, boom.
They say that for men, foreplay is anything that happens in the 3 minutes before intercourse. And for women, it's everything that happens in the 24 hours before intercourse.
Okay, here's my question. No, this is not my question. I love rough sex, but my husband is somewhat inexperienced, and in my opinion, improved. He's uncomfortable doing some things I like, such as pulling my hair, choking me gently, and slapping me in certain areas. Although I get what I need from sex with him, it is boring to me. Do I need to be fixed, or does he need to get on board?
Then I'm going to go back to sex is about communication. Sex is about pleasing each other. And if she likes it rough, she wants all whatever she wants, and the guy for some reason is not feeling it, I believe that she also needs to understand why the guy is not feeling it, and they have to talk and communicate and hopefully get to a place where both of them will enjoy it. Because I don't know that, depending on how the lady was raised and what she's exposed to, whoever asks the question, she may be exposed to all wherever, and she may marry somebody from, I'm going to use a place, Bryan, Texas, country. some guy that is not into, was not exposed or whatever, and they're going to have an issue. It's something that they need to talk about. The key thing for me when it comes to that is, if it's pleasing to you, I'm going to try my best to see if I can please you, but you have to also understand that maybe give me time because I'm not there, and hopefully we could walk ourselves to, a place, a common place that we both will agree and enjoy each other.
When I was at Oak Cliff, Dr. Archer shared something with me that I've never forgotten, and he said, when you're doing premarital counseling, you must always ask both individuals to share their sexual history, because the enemy loves to use the silence as a tool against the couple. And he says it's extraordinarily uncomfortable, but it is better you be aware of it now than later on somebody wanting to do something or have had images and pictures in their mind that the other person does not want to pursue, and then it becomes a big tension area. And so now it's weird. Sometimes I got to go out of the office when I say, okay, tell each other what y'all used to do, so that you come to the table with that.
That's why, to me, this begins in premarital counseling. That's why I take premarital counseling very seriously. Before we have these problems, while we are talking, let's keep the butterfly and all this, let's keep it aside and deal with each other. What do you really want? Where are you coming from? What experiences have you had in the past? What I might have to kind of deal with, so to say, and you guys, through premarital counseling, come to an understanding of what you like or what you don't like, so that when you go into the marriage, you begin to practice what both of you agreed prior to going in.
That's good. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's really important for us to understand where maybe some of our desires come from and what our experiences have been. One, again, too, so we don't come in with shame and guilt that haven't been dealt with, because, again, Satan has a heyday using those things against us and trying to steal from us. Absolutely.
Eric, you have another one? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to ask 2 more from here, and then we're going to do 4. This is random from the audience. Just 4. So if you have a question that you want to ask, we want you to stand up and here, instead of going and paying $200, you can just ask it, and you'll get it real quick. So we're going to ask 2 more here, and then you get to ask 4. And in a moment, Fred and you guys can just get some mics so we can ask 4 questions, and then we're done. Go.
Okay, we'll go to a confidence one here. Why do I feel embarrassed when it comes to wearing sexy lingerie to bed? I'm assuming this is from a woman. It says I feel embarrassed. So why do I feel embarrassed, and help me in that area?
You know, the why to that may just be, again, either negative scripts from childhood or not ever really being given permission that as women we are allowed to enjoy sex and our sexuality and being sensual and sexy. We can be sexy and sacred all at the same time. There's a passage in Deuteronomy, and I always want to ask pastors why this isn't ever preached on. But the passage is in Deuteronomy 24:5, and it says that when a man marries, that he's not to go off to war or any duty laid upon him. For 1 year, he is to stay at home and bring happiness to the wife he has married. And some theologians say that word happiness means to know what is exquisitely pleasing to her sexually. For 1 year. To me, that really suggests, one, that we women might be a little complicated. It may take y'all a year to understand us, you know. But it also, to me, that passage gives permission that we as women should get to delight and learn how to delight in our sexuality. And that spouses need to take the time to learn their wives. And wives, us also learn our husbands. But I think just giving permission that God is okay with us being sexy and sacred at the same time. Hot and holy, erotic and intimate at the same time. And so I think just learning to give yourself permission and learn to like your body that you are in, and trusting that your spouse likes the body that you're in and would like it in the watchroom.
Pastor, I'm going to need 2016 off to kind of go back and learn some stuff.
Experience your life. That's good. How do you put this nicely when your mate's hygiene is not good, but they want to have sex? Their body weight is a factor, and you can't take their weight on you and enjoy it.
Go ahead.
I think I'm looking at 2 things here. The hygiene is an issue. For me, the weight is not. Because there's nowhere in the Bible that the Bible says if she gets a little weight, fat, get rid of her. That goes to what I referenced about enjoy the wife of you, and as you guys are progressing and aging, You need to be adjusting in your head and loving the body, because the body is going to change, just like your body. Assuming a man is asking the question, just like your body is aging, you need to also be adjusting with her body. I definitely will encourage everybody, male, female, to make sure you're cleaning up, brushing your teeth, or whatever before you go to bed. The hygiene is a different issue, but the weight thing is an issue, because then my practice, actually, this happens to be a pastor who was flying from Houston to my office talking about bringing picture of the wife and saying that when I married her, this is what she looks like. And I enjoyed her. We were having blast sexually. But now, look at what she looks like. You want me to enjoy this? To which and he used whatever to describe how big she is and her body, which I don't want to go into, but he just used other adjectives that it's not biblical. And this is the preacher. And I simply had to say to him, I'm from Missouri. Show me where the Bible says if she's 295 pounds or whatever she is, big, low stomach or whatever, you can't enjoy sex. So I had to kind of walk with him, counseling, to get him to understand that the body is not the issue. The body is the temple of God, and you cannot mess with it, depending on what you're telling the wife to. So you have to go into just talking, trying to help him understand that this is the body of God, and you can reject it.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm going to tag this onto the positions. Certainly because of weight, then there may be different positions that may be more comfortable or uncomfortable than others, and because I believe we have a creative God that could that we have all kinds of creative positions. And so if it is a position issue, because the weight's an issue because it's uncomfortable, then get creative with different positions.
That's good. Before we go to questions, let me ask this. Talk a little bit about selfishness and intimacy, and a part of this is some issues can't be solved in a day, and so how does selflessness, it's not my agenda only, I've got to love my spouse sacrificially. Talk to us a little bit about that, and then while you do that, I'll have these guys come with some microphones. So go ahead, any one of you.
I really think about sexual intimacy that we could take those two words. We need to be selfishly unselfish. The selfish piece enough to just know our bodies well enough to know what we need and to have a voice to say this is something I desire and I know I need. That may be part of the problem with women orgasming. They don't know really what they need and what they desire. But the unselfish piece is there is much of sex and intimacy that we must be unselfish and focus on our spouse and be willing to tend to and pour into our spouse's needs and wanting to serve them. And I think that is a good way of looking at one another is how can I serve you better sexually? And that doesn't just mean besides having sex 7 days a week. I mean, there are other ways we could learn to serve each other better, being more affectionate outside the bedroom and affectionate throughout the day and doing things intimately to build on that union. But we need to be selfishly unselfish.
I think if couples can really go into 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and study that passage, that basically that really will help them understand that your body does not belong to you, your body belongs to somebody else. So stop playing this power game. If you don't do what I want, then you don't get nothing tonight. Nothing tonight. So that means you got to do nothing tonight. So you do nothing tonight. However you do it in advance, nothing tonight. So you guys say, I'm going to put you in a dog house. I don't know where that dog house is. Sometimes that's an issue. Sometimes some ladies or some men think, I got the power if you don't do this. there will be a major issue tonight. So we need to understand the body does not belong to you. My body is your body is my body, and we cannot be disrespecting each other like that because we have a God who is looking into us and watching over our sexuality. That's good. So I just encourage couples, and especially ladies, just watch how you deal with the men when they're not doing whatever, because that's most of the things I hear. Because a man don't care if there's an issue and they quarrel or whatever. He wants to get through the quarrel right away and go to bed. But the woman is like, we haven't even finished this conversation. Why do you want this? So we gotta get to a point where we are respecting each other and not using a power move on each other.
Excellent. All right, so if you have a question that one of your girlfriends or one of your boyfriends, your brothers had, and you want to ask it on behalf of them, just wave your hand and they'll bring a mic. Anybody? There's one right there. Let's go over there. Anybody else? Number 2, anybody?